American in distress. Good morning, Afghanistan. Some quick news I'm going to go over real quick. Try to manipulate the camera with my right hand and the mousey with my left hand, so bear with me. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the news stories here. Bear with me here because I have these glasses on. I'm kind of far away. I can only see up close with them. I can't see far away with them. Okay, I'm just going to go in order here and one story at a time and explain what they are. Okay, press TV. The United States has about 70 nuclear weapons, tactical, they're saying, in Turkey. We have an air base there in Turkey. And they have had weapons there, nuclear weapons from the 50s. They don't want to move them, but I have to tell you, it's a very, very unstable region. And I've always said this, Turkey is not our friend. If you look at any of my videos from 2 years ago, Turkey is not our friend. It's all part of it. Now, if we had some kind of disaster, God forbid, in the United States, and these nuclear weapons were over here and they were just sort of in limbo, it would be so simple for somebody to come into Turkey or Turkey themselves to take over these nuclear weapons. Turkey has the delivery system on their F-16 jets to hook these up, and it's not like it's a big process to make these things, arm these things. I checked it out. They can be armed in a very short time. I'm not talking hours, but a few days. They can be armed and ready to go, even if you didn't know what you were doing. Now, a country like Turkey, with a high education system and a lot of scientists, they could probably figure this out pretty damn quick. 70 of these, they say, are here in Turkey. Now, these are from leftover from the Cold War, and then these are more advanced weapons right here. These are not Cold War weapons. I can tell you that right now. But I just want everybody to consider that. Just consider that. Turkey is not our friend. Just, I said before, Egypt is not our friend. And we all know, it was simple to see that the Muslim Brotherhood was going to move in all through North Africa. It's a giant game of risk. And right now, North Africa, through the region, is at stake. Now, this is what this video is basically about, this whole region. Now, the next one is English bravado. Russian rag. Look at this. I can't know if people will be able to see this, but the Russians are going to return to Afghanistan after U.S. occupation. And the Afghanistanis, this Karzai guy, he's already building a Russian cultural center up there in Kabul, and they are welcoming the Russians with arms open. They want to get the Americans the hell out after we spent billions of fucking dollars in there and dumped all kinds of money, and we'll leave all that equipment, and the Russians are going to move in and be like Russia again. But one thing is that they're talking about over there, and is really correct, is the opium production in Afghanistan it's taken over the world. Everybody's growing opium over there, and the Russians have said before, when the Russians were there, they had agricultural systems, and they were growing food and farming, and they were still making a profit. See, so all this stuff about they can't make money off food and all this other crap, I think is just a ruse by the Americans, man. Why do the Americans go in there, protect the opium fields, give them fertilizer to grow the opium, and then say that, well, if we don't do it, the Taliban will? When the Taliban was in there, there was no opium production, zero. And when the Russians were there, it got to its lowest point in hundreds and hundreds of years. So, you know something? We have to consider this. We have to consider this. Opium has been used to conquer nations for the past hundreds and hundreds of years, man. The Japanese used it. The English used it against the Chinese. It's been going back forever. And I think it's all part of the puzzle, this opium production that Americans been doing in Afghanistan. But now the Russians are saying they're going to move in. So this will be interesting indeed. Now, I'm going to go into some Libya stuff real quick because it's still North Africa. English bravado again. Now, on this story is Libya without Gaddafi. Chaos and collapse. Now, and it's right, this, over there, they had a high standard of living, high educational system, healthcare and all this other stuff. And the Americans went in, Now, we didn't fly any sorties. We did have people CIA on the ground, of course, we always do. And but we, on our ships offshore, I think we sent 125 cruise missiles at $1,025,000 each. Without, that doesn't, transportation cost, fueling, maintenance doesn't cover that stuff. So these are very expensive weapons. We mowed a path 20 miles wide because these Taliban guys that we put in there were such idiots that they had no tactical abilities at all. So we had to mow a path 20 fucking miles wide so these idiots could go into this Tripoli and get Gaddafi or wherever he was. And now look what the result is. If the end game of our tactics is chaos and mayhem and just collapse and human suffering on an unmeasured scale, then we have completed our missions in North Africa, in Iraq, in any other country that we've been in. Back to Vietnam. Back that far. Okay. Now this is okay. Now the next one, I can't see shit, man. I'll try to hold it down here. Tel Aviv. Okay, Libya. Let's go to this one. There. Hats. You gotta roll that tongue and do the thing that it's hard for me to do, to speak this Hebrew language. From the Protestants of Tel Aviv to Occupy Wall Street. Now this is an old article, but before there was Occupy Wall Street, there was Occupy Tel Aviv. Okay? Now the reason I'm saying this, get into this part, is it's more North Africa stuff, but months before there was Occupy Wall Street, there was Occupy Tel Aviv. I always said that there's two sets of people in Israel right now. They're Israel right now and around the world. Israelis are around the world. They're not just in Israel. But there's the fake Jews and the real Jews. And they're talked about in Revelation, that, the synagogue of Satan Jews. I think they're there right now. And the real Jews are the Jews out there protecting the Palestinians' homes and saying it's wrong to go in there and mow these people down and take their homes, throw them in a ghetto, and just ruin their lives, and more human suffering on a massive scale. Why are people so dead set on human suffering? Why? Why is it always result of human suffering or child sacrifice? Always. In our society, yes, in our society. But before there was Occupy Wall Street or any other street, there was Occupy Tel Aviv. And it never got in the news. No people even know about it. But these, I believe, were the real Israelis. The real Israelis are holding hands and protecting these settlements. But, they don't want these to go ahead with these Jewish occupation and the building of the settlements on the West Bank there, or even Gaza. They need to sit back and think about this, which they never did. They just went balls to the walls forward. And it's not right. But the thing is, we have the real Israelis there. We have the good people there. Just like everywhere. Even in Detroit, everywhere. There's good people. I always bash Detroit, but there is good people in Detroit. And the majority are the good people. It's always a small majority of these possessed fucks that take over everything, and all they want is human suffering on a grand scale. And right now, with all the perplexities in all the nations going on, it is making it so easy and simple for them. This has all been planned. It's a giant plan. Now, let's go back to this here. Occupy Tel Aviv, these very brave people. And let's not forget the girl. God damn it, I forgot her name. Sarah Connor or something like that. Chopped in half, American girl, by an Israeli bulldozer on video. She was one of the people trying to help protect these Palestinian homes. Chopped in half with a goddamn, those big ass bulldozers, B9 or whatever they're called. It makes me sick to think about it, man. But I'm just here to observe and report. That's it, nothing else. I'm going to come back to this one. And thousands occupy Tel Aviv, and police respond with brutal force, just like Occupy here. What happens? They always respond with brutal force. Always, the nation. I don't know. Perplexities of nations. It's all perplexity. Okay, let's go back to here. Oh, damn it. I'm trying to do this with my... Now, a lot of this, and you say, well, it's about oil. Yes, it is. It's about oil, it's about energy, it's about control of North Africa and in the Mediterranean, which I tell you, Turkey wants control of the Mediterranean, and they're not going to let it go without a fight. Nubian sandstone aquifer system, this is also part of it. This is the Libyan water system. It also it's a huge, huge water system. Now they're saying 1,000 years of water instead of 500. You know, of course, Gaddafi built the water system, and as soon as they opened it, we went and bombed the hell out of them and sent this country into utter chaos. And this is a very good, very interesting read. I don't have the other site on here. This is Wikipedia. But Gaddafi had already started to farm the desert, and with the aquifer system, as he was irrigating it, and huge, they made these circles in the desert, and they were circles of crops. That's how they were going to do it. And a lot of countries up north, in northern Europe, Norway and some other ones, had a lot vested in this, because they, you know, in their country, you have a very short growing season. Down here, you had a full year growing season. That meant you could do 3 rotations of crops a year, probably. It would have been a boom for agriculture and farming in Libya. And Gaddafi was going to, actually he was going to feed Africa. He was going to feed and water Africa. These people are starving, and they have no clean water. Well, we fucked that for them. Okay, this is all part of this Nubian water system. There's a big fight over this. Matter of fact, Egypt, before the war in Libya, Egypt was in NATO complaining about Gaddafi taking the water from the system, because it does also run underneath Egypt, Chad, and the Sinai Desert, and some other countries up there. And it's very large, and Egypt doesn't have the resources to tap into it. They're fully engulfed with only the IMF for those desalinization plants that bring clean water. So Egypt is huge into the IMF. Gaddafi was not. He paid off the IMF and closed down the plants. Gaddafi was going to be autonomous, away from all this world domination. We control you through the money system. He was getting away from it, and they just, well, what do? We move in, and we screw him. Okay, let's go. Wait, down. That's all part of the puzzle, this Nubian water system, and I gotta tell you. Okay, I got a couple more. Okay, this is from Der Spiegel, the Voice Online, Germany. And what does it say here? Israel deploys nuclear weapons on German-made submarines. Hey, Hans, Fritz, you make a submarine for the Germans? What is this association? What is this thing going on between Germany and Israel? What is this going on? And the Germany doesn't seem to give a shit. You know, they sell them the submarines. The Israelis were able to Jew them down quite a bit. And there's their high-tech son of a bitches. One thing the Germans can do well, and that is make weapons. They've always been good at it. They've always been good at war. They're just itching, man, you know. Anyway, and they got the Israelis to do it for them, so they get to try all these new weapons out with them. Okay, now then we have one more. The Rendemar. I don't know what it is, but I can't read it. Oh! Jews deport Blackie. The Jews fight to deport blacks out of Israel. And what the hell? Could you imagine somebody trying to deport blacks out of Chicago? Getting away with it? They round them up in the middle of the night. They put them on a plane, probably charge them for the ticket. And they go back to their country they came from, even though they're political refugees and Jewish people that are going to be slaughtered. And they leave them there. Because why? Because he's a blackie. Anyway, just something to consider on this early Sunday morning. Now look, I never fit in with any kind of religion. I've been to all kinds of churches all my whole life. I never fit into the educational system. I've never fit in. I was in the military, didn't like it. As a matter of fact, they tried to blow me up. And that's the camouflage net I was wearing when it was blown up. If you look real close. I was bit by a snake. I was stabbed, I was fragged, and I was blown up. And this is what I was wearing. If you look on the liner, the little band that goes around the rope, I wrote "Meat is Murder." That was the cool thing to do back in those days. It was blown up. I had to wash it, but I kept it because I figured, man, I was blown up in that thing. But the helmet's not the helmet I had when I was blown up. It's another helmet. Just a camouflage thing there. American in distress. Duck out.